It's quite a deep realization to recognize that there is this love that is actually the ground of our being. The experience of it brings us into this state of love. That's quite life-affirming. One of the sort of existential fears that we sort of might have is the idea that letting go brings us to a state of annihilation. The Buddha's teaching us that life is suffering. We go, well, really? But what he's saying is it's not that it's innately suffering. He's saying that we turn it into suffering. We develop our relationship to this heart essence. We start to recognize that this unified state of awareness that is absolutely this clear light is pervasive, it's everywhere, it's endless. And it's also the very ground of our own heart. It sort of starts to break down this fear of letting go. And that changes everything. When you touch that basic ground and you realize just how profoundly sacred it is and how taintless it is and how everything arises perfectly within it, a sort of devotional attitude starts to develop within us, which calls us there genuinely is a flavor of liberation and release and love in the process of letting go. But it's when you start to see into the Dharma, experience into it, taste it, see it come alive within you, understand that life is the Dharma, and start to recognize that suffering that the Buddha is telling us isn't the actual nature of things. Once you've let go, the fact that everything is impermanence is a constant reminder that it's all right to have let go, so that you can dance in every moment. And as you tune in, there is a sense that everything is resting effortlessly within itself in this state of perfection. And slowly we come to this realization that there isn't a hair out of place. And we start to touch this profound intelligence that's just reflecting itself absolutely perfectly, a pure reflection of the conditions behind it. In any conflict, even when it's falling apart in a state of absolute turmoil, it's falling apart as a perfect reflection of conditions. And that the universe is never in conflict. And if you don't want it to be suffering, You can't just hope for that suffering to go away. You have to stop sowing the seeds of suffering. And if you want it to be love, and if you want it to be peaceful and joyful and beautiful, you've got to sow beautiful seeds. You don't get sweet fruit from a bitter lemon tree. So if you want it to change, you have to change the seeds that you put in the ground and the way in which you tend to them, and that's karma. Because you're not looking at a world or a universe that behaves in this way over here and in this way over here. You're looking at a single, seamless process of coming into being endlessly. We call it the mother and daughter clear light. That pervasive, unfathomably still clear light that's everywhere, that everything is arising out of, is exactly the same clear light in the deepest part of your heart that every aspect of you is arising out of. And slowly we come to the experience, not some deep philosophical view. We see that everything is arising out of the same basic ground. This pure state of consciousness, pure intelligence. And that everything is arising seamlessly out of the same unified state. So there isn't any separation between you and me. So here we are, just popping into being out of this same basic space, one single process. And I'm experiencing it over here as me, having a very personal experience of an impersonal process. The problem is that we take it so personally, when it's not. Don't take it personally. And it's not until your mind fades away and you emerge into that state of pure awareness that you find yourself seamlessly woven into the very experience that you've spent your life and time looking out at. And that's what we mean when we say to wake up. You wake up out of the sense of separation and the fixation on the idea of it's me, into the experience of unity, unification and connection, and to the sense and the experience that it's all one thing. And somewhere in the middle of it is me. Wow. So, whether you are in your own hopes and dreams, sort of making your way or towards that return journey, or whether you are still in your dance, understand how careful you have to be to dance in such a way that you don't come to suffering. Buddha wasn't being negative. He was just aware of how prone we are to bring ourselves to suffering, which is why he taught the path out of suffering. This is we've got to work out for ourselves. This is our own journey. How much suffering are you willing to forbear to uphold your attachment to your idea of yourself? How much are you willing to let go what is harmful to bring your consciousness to what it's capable of being.